Hello, welcome to the channel. Uh, Messed up my stream a minute ago as usual. So, not that anybody's watching. Hoxton may not. And welcome. Uh, Let me get to the scriptures. Okay, I'm checking see if it's working, like I always have to do. Oh goodness, the wind is a blowing. All right, we're going to go to Leviticus and read this out. We're talking about a thief in the night, and the sleepers is what the subject matter is. Okay, so Adonai said to Moshe, Leviticus 6:1, give this order to Aharon and his sons. This is the law for the burnt offering. It is what goes up on its firewood upon the altar all night long until morning. In this way, the fire of the altar will be kept burning. So the command was that the altar had to be kept burning. And then we jump down to 5. In this way, the fire on the altar will be kept burning and not be allowed to go out. Each morning, the Kohen is to kindle wood on it, arrange the burnt offering, and make the fat of the peace offering go up in smoke. Fire is to be kept burning continually, is not to go out. So that today is us. The fire has to be kept burning in us, right? And it's a partnership of obedience. Okay, and those on the job had to keep this fire going. At midnight, at evening, midnight, and morning. Okay, let's go now here. We're going to talk about the Lil Shemarim first. And it is a night that is guarded. So we are to watch and we are to guard. And by the way, the new moon sighting was on the 20th of March. So technically Pesach wouldn't even be till today. And most everybody's either 2 days early or a day early, I've noticed. But MTOI is having their service right now, today on the 2nd. And I do know that Servant Steve Berkson goes by the first sliver of the moon. And it was spotted in Jerusalem. So I just want to point that out. So we're still talking about Pesach. And then we'll be going into the high holy day of unleavened bread and then the first fruits. So a night that is guarded, the Lil Shamarim. Within the space of a single verse, the Torah twice refers to the night of the Seder as Lil Shemarim. A night that is guarded. It is a night that is guarded by God to take them, Israel, out of Egypt. This night remains to God a night that is guarded throughout the generations. Exodus 12:42. Our sages offered a number of explanations of this phrase. A night that is guarded, a night of anticipation, of waiting for God, guarded and anticipated this night when he would fulfill his God guarded promise to take them out of the land of Egypt. A night that is guarded, a night that is specially set aside for a twofold redemption, for God and his nation. This explanation is based on the use of the plural shemarim. We see that throughout the period of bondage, it is as if the divine presence were also enslaved in Egypt. Moreover, we find that whenever Israel went into exile, the Shekinah went with them in their exile. Yalkut Shemoni, Exodus 2:10 or 21. A night that is guarded. A night that is reserved for the future redemption. Why is the word shimmering repeated in this verse? Because on this night and other times and places, God did great things for the righteous, just as he had done before Israel, for Israel in Egypt. On this night, he saved Hizkiyahu from Sennacherib and his armies. On this night, he saved Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. On the night, he saved Daniel from the lion's den. So he saved them from the, YESHUA was in the fire with him. And then Daniel from the lion's den. On this night, Elijah and Mashiach are made great. So Chabad is saying these events happened on Pesach, on the night of guarding. This is why the verse ends with the words, "It is a night that is guarded for all Israel and for all their generations." A night that is guarded. A night on which there is protection from harmful elements. For this reason, we do not recite the entire Shema and the other prayers asking for God's protection that are usually said before going to sleep. We read only the first paragraph of Shema because on this night we enjoy special protection from God. Jumping down, Maaseh Rokeach notes that he heard of a great sage who would never lock the doors of his house on this night. He adds that it has become customary to leave the doors open so that we may go out to greet Elijah without delay. For it is written that Israel is destined to be redeemed on the night of Pesach. It is a night that has been guarded and reserved for redemption ever since creation. Majan Abraham, quoting Maharil, writes that while one should not bolt the doors, he may close them, since a person should not rely on a miracle for protection. A night that is guarded. Ezra writes that this means a night of guarding, a wakefulness, for it is customary to refrain from sleeping so that we might occupy ourselves with praises of Yah and relate his mighty deeds when he brought us out of Egypt. The Haggadah mentions the sages of Bnei Brak who remained awake until it was time to recite for the recital of the morning Shema. Now we're going to Bet HaBakira 1. There is a positive mitzvah to guard the temple. This mitzvah applies even though there is no fear of enemies or thieves. For the guarding of the temple is an expression of respect for it. A place with guards is much more impressive than a place without guards. The mitzvah of guarding the temple applies throughout the night. The priest and Levite shall serve as guards, as Numbers 8:2 states, and you and your sons shall be before the tent of the testimony. You shall keep watch over it. Also states, the Levites shall watch over the tent of meeting. And Moses, Aharon, and his sons shall camp before the sanctuary towards the east, and they will be the guardians of the holy watch. Anyone who nullifies this watch transgress a negative commandment, as Numbers 18:5 states, and you shall take care to keep the holy watch. Any form of the verb shamar, take care, implies a warning against transgressing a negative command. Thus, guarding the temple fulfills a positive command, and nullifying its watch represents the violation of a negative command. The mitzvah of guarding the temple is as follows. The priest stood guard from the inside and the Levites from the outside. Okay, that's important. Priests inside, Levites outside. 24 groups of guards stood watch over it continuously each night in 24 different places. And 24 is the number of government, 24 elders, 12 and 12. The priests stood guard in 3 places, and the Levites in 21 places. So you have the 3 and the 21. 3 times 7 is 21. Father's cycles, his sevens, everything in sevens, right? 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Where did they keep watch? The priests kept watch in the chamber of Optinus, the chamber of the spark. Sorry about that. The chamber of the spark, where 2-story structures built as the sides of the gates of the temple courtyard. The young priests kept watch there. The chamber of the hearth was a large domed structure surrounded on the inside with projections of stone. The elders of the priestly watch of that day slept there with the keys to the temple courtyard in their hands. So we have elders that are allowed to sleep. They sleep there with the keys to the courtyard in their hands. The priests on watch did not sleep. So the priests have to stay awake. In their priestly garments, did not sleep in their priestly garments. Instead, they folded them, placed them at their heads, and wore their own clothes. They slept on the ground. They did sleep. Okay, so it's about their clothes. It is customary for all those who stand watch over the courtyards of kings not to sleep on beds. So they slept on the ground. If one of them had they were unclean for seminal mission, he would proceed down the winding under stairwell, because the underground passages that opened to the portion of the temple outside the courtyard were not consecrated. And then he would go do a mikveh. He would then return and sit among his fellow priests until the gates were opened in the morning. So the morning gate, the morning shift. At that time, he would leave and proceed to do his own affairs. Where would the Levites stand watch? Okay, so Levites outside, priests inside. Inside the 5 gates of the Temple Mount. Okay. Levites stand watch so they were inside the 5 gates of the Temple Mount, as its 4 corners of the walls surround the Temple Mount. Okay, from the inside. At the outside of the 4 corners of the temple courtyard. Okay, so for it is forbidden to sit in the temple courtyard. At the outside of 5 of the 7 gates to the temple courtyard, for the priests stood watch at the remaining 2 gates, the chamber of the hearth and the gate of the spark. Fire. A total of 18 locations. They also stood watch in the chamber of the sacrifices, the chamber of the Parahet, and behind the Holy of Holies. And here's what's important, too. An overseer was appointed over all the watches of the guards. He was called the officer of the Temple Mount. So this is YESHUA. He's the officer of the Temple Mount. Throughout the night, he checked on all the watches. Torches were lit before him. If a guard did not stand before him and greet him, "Peace be unto you," officer of the Temple Mount, he would assume that he was sleeping and would strike him with his staff or rod. I don't know if staff or rod's correct in this instance, but we'll just read it as it is. So we have YESHUA striking. He was even granted permission to burn a sleeping guard's clothing. Thus it was commonly said in Jerusalem, "What is the noise in the temple courtyard at night? It must be the voice of a Levite being beaten and his clothes burned because he slept on his watch." And then you have to run naked. In the morning, shortly before dawn, the overseer of the sanctuary came and tapped to awaken the priest sleeping in the chamber of the hearth. When they opened the gate for him, he took the keys. See, Yeshua took all the keys and opened the small gate leading from the chamber of the earth to the temple courtyard. Then he entered the courtyard, and the priest followed him, and we follow him. They held 2 torches of fire in their hands and divided into 2 groups. One proceeded eastward and the other westward. They walked on, checking the entire temple courtyard. Both groups met when they reached the chamber of the bakers of the Havatim. Havatim. So the bakers is the bread of life. That's where they would end up. When both groups reached that point, they declared, "Peace be unto you." Everything is at peace. Afterwards, they prompted the bakers of the Havatim to begin their work. This pattern was followed each night except on Sabbath, Eve. Then they did not hold torches in their hands. Rather, they checked by the light of the candles which remained burning from the Sabbath Eve. Blessed be the merciful one who provides assistance. Okay, so is it Luke 22? I see. No, it's Mark. That's right, it's Mark. We're going to go over. Did we read Leviticus? Yeah, we went. Okay. Which one in Mark here? Okay, so we know what happens if you fall asleep. Yeshua said the betwixt are asleep. That's why he's warning to wake up. You don't have your sight, you're groping in the dark. So he takes the key of David, turns you right upright, and then he starts teaching you the truth fully. So when he's saying he's coming like a thief in the night, and we'll go over that, he's talking to the ones that are asleep, clearly. Okay, so stay alert, for you don't know when the owner of the house will come. So here is the overseer of the temple, the Yeshua. Whether it be the evening watch, the midnight watch, or the morning watch, whether it be evening, midnight, cock crowing, or morning. You don't want him to come suddenly and find you sleeping. Let me look at that in the KJV. Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at even, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning. So actually there's 4 there. Lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. So let's read Mark 13 out. As Yeshua came out of the temple, one of the Talmudim said to him, "Look, Rabbi, what huge stones, what magnificent buildings. You see all these great buildings?" And so they're saying, "Oh, look what man's done with their hands. Look, Rabbi, look." And Yeshua said to him, "They will be totally destroyed. Not a single stone will be left standing." As he was sitting on the Mount of Olives opposite the temple, Kepha, Yaakov, Yochanan, and Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us, when will these things happen, and what sign will show when all these things are about to be accomplished?" Yeshua began speaking to them. "Watch out. Don't let anyone fool you. Many will come in my name saying, 'I am he,' and they will fool many people." And this verse is saying many's going to come and say that Yeshua is the Messiah. They're going to profess with their mouth that Yeshua is Messiah, and they will still fool many people. And when you hear the noise of wars nearby and the news of wars far off, don't be frightened. And we know that Mark is written to the great multitude who are holding the palm branches, because there was no robe given to Yeshua in the book of Mark. They go into the great tribulation, Um, talks about the abomination and that causes devastation, standing where it ought not to be. Let the reader understand the illusion that will be the time for those in Yehuda to escape to the hills. So that's over there in the fig tree. If someone is on the roof, he must not go down and enter his house to take any of his belongings. If someone is in the field, he must not turn back to get his coat. What a terrible time it will be for pregnant women and nursing mothers. See, there is no age of accountability for people's kids. If you're thrown into great tribulation, you know, you got to repent. Pray that it may not happen in winter, for there will be worse trouble at that time. Oops. Than there has ever been from the very beginning, when God created the universe until now, and there will be nothing like it again. Never been a time like it, never will be again. Okay, I'm going to skip down. Now let the fig tree teach you its lesson. When its branches begin to sprout and leaves appear, you know that summer is approaching. So summer is Pesach. And in the same way, when you see all these things happening, you are to know that the time is near, right at the door. Yes, I tell you that this people will certainly not pass away before all these things happen. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will certainly not pass away. The fig tree generation. However, when that day and hour will come, no one knows. So there's Yom Teruah, Rosh Hashanah. Not the angels in heaven, not the Son, just the Father. Stay alert, be on your guard. Alert, awake, be on your guard. Be watching. Or the overseer will come and set your garments on fire. Stay alert, be on guard, for you do not know when the time will come. It's like a man who travels away from home, puts his servants in charge, each with his own task, and tells the doorkeeper to stay alert. We just talked about the doorkeeper and the guards and the priests. So stay alert, be awake, be watching. For you don't know when the hour of the house, owner of the house will come. The owner, the overseer, whether it be evening, midnight, cock crowing, and morning. You don't want him to come suddenly and find you sleeping. And what I say to you, I say to everyone, stay alert. I hope that's showing up. Yeah. Okay. Luke 21:34. But keep watch, and this is Luke written to the bride. But keep watch on yourselves, or your hearts will become dulled by carousing, drunkenness, spiritual drunkenness, not liquor drunk. It's not about flesh, it's about being confounded betwixt. Become dulled by carousing, drunkenness, and the worries of everyday living, and that day will be sprung upon you suddenly like a trap. For it will close in on everyone, no matter where they live. So it doesn't matter if you're in Judea or in Jerusalem. It's coming on everyone, no matter where they live throughout the whole world. Stay alert, always praying that you will have the strength to escape all these things that will happen and to stand in the presence of the Son of Man. Yeshua spent his days at the temple teaching, while at night he went out and stayed on the hill called the Mount of Olives. All the people would rise with the dawn to come and hear him at the temple courts. Temple courts. See, it's where he spent his time, in the temple. And we're the temple, and we're to spend our time in him. And where is he? In the Word. He is Word. Okay, this is uh All right, read now. It was now 2 days before Pesach, that is the festival of Matzah, and the head Kohanim and the Torah teachers were trying to find some way to arrest Yeshua surreptitiously and have him put to death. For they said, not during the festival or the people will riot. So let's jump down. Okay, so where he's being arrested. First start here at 32. They went to a place called Gat Shamanim, and Yeshua, that's Gethsemane, and Yeshua said to his Talmudim, sit here while I pray. He took with him Kepha, Yaakov, and Yochanan. Great distress and anguish came over him. And he said to them, my heart is so filled with sadness that I could die. It's interesting what he says here in Mark is different from what he says in Luke. Remember, Luke is written to the bride. Mark is written to the great multitude. Going on a little farther, he fell on the ground and prayed that if possible the hour might pass from him. Abba, dear Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup away from me. Still not what I want, but what you want. He came and found them sleeping, and he said to Kepha, Shimon, are you asleep? Couldn't you stay awake 1 hour? Unless he said, you won't know the hour that I come upon you. Stay awake and pray that you will not be put to the test. The spirit indeed is eager, but human nature is weak. The flesh is weak. Again he went away and prayed, saying the same words. So 2 times, count. And again he went and found them sleep. He came and found them sleeping. Their eyes were so very heavy, and they did not know what to answer him. And the third time, and this is verse 41, 14:41. Key is 41. The third time he came and said to them, for now, go on sleeping, take your rest. There, that's enough. The time has come. Look, the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Saying, take your rest. Then he says, get up, let's go. Here comes my betrayer. And it's in Mark that the kiss happened, by the way. I was looking in Luke, it didn't. I didn't go to Matthew, and I can't remember, but I know it's not in Luke. We're going to go there. And this is where I want to get to. So Yeshua addressed them. So you came out to take me with swords and clubs, the way you would the leader of a rebellion. Every day I was with you in the temple court, teaching, and you didn't seize me then. But let the Tanakh be fulfilled. And they all deserted him and ran away. And here, check this out. There was one young man who did try to follow him, but he was wearing only a nightshirt. And when they tried to seize him, he slipped out of the nightshirt and ran away naked. So this is the symbolism for the sleeper being set on fire right here, running naked. He tried to follow him, but he was only wearing a nightshirt, so he was half naked already. And when they tried to seize him, he slipped out of the nightshirt and ran away naked. So Luke 22:39. On leaving, Yeshua went as usual to the Mount of Olives, and the Talmudim followed him. When he arrived, he said to them, pray that you won't be put to the test. He went about a stone's throw away from them, kneeled down and prayed, Father, if you are willing, take this cup away from me. Still not let my will, but yours be done. There appeared to him an angel from heaven giving him strength. And in great anguish he prayed more intensely, so that his sweat became like drops of blood falling to the ground. On rising from prayer and coming to the Talmudim, he found them sleeping because of their grief. He said to them, why are you sleeping? Get up and pray that you won't be put to the test. So these Talmudim and Luke were sleeping because of their grief. So the 10 virgins all fell asleep. But 5 had oil, 5 didn't. Even though they more represent the bridesmaids instead of the bride. Uh, but it still applies. Okay. So yeah, wake up. Why are you sleeping? Get up and pray that you won't be put to the test. Revelation 3:1. To the angel of the Messianic community in Sardis write, here is the message from the one who has the sevenfold Spirit of God, of Yah, and the 7 stars. The seventh Spirit of God is in Isaiah 11:1. And the 7 stars are Pleiades, the 7 sisters, the 7 assemblies, the Kahal, 7 Kahals. I know what you are doing. You have a reputation for being alive, but in fact, you are dead. Wake up and strengthen what remains before it dies too. For I found what you are doing incomplete in the sight of my God. So remember what you received and heard, and obey it. And obey it. Keep the 10 commandments. Keep the 2 greatest commandments in Deuteronomy 5 and Deuteronomy 6. Honor his holy convocations. Come out of Babylon. Stop keeping all the traditions of men and worshiping pagan false idol gods. There's no Good Friday. There's no Easter. There's no Christmas. There's no St. Patty's Day, Valentine's Day. It's all pagan. Little g God worship. We honor things his way, not our own. So remember what you've received and heard, and obey it, and turn from your sin. For if you don't wake up, I will come like a thief, and you don't know at what moment I will come upon you. So that's pretty much all I had to share. I was going to be on here very long. So there's the thief in the night. He's the overseer. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then, well, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you might be a stiff neck. You might be betwixt, and you are definitely asleep. And it goes on to the written to the bride of the Philadelphia Kahal. To the angel of the Messianic community in Philadelphia, right here is the message of Hakadosh, the true one, the one who has the key of David, who if he opens something, no one else can shut it, and if he closes something, no one else can open it. I know what you are doing. Look, I have put in front of you an open door, and no one can shut it. YESHUA is the door, and there's many doors. And when he turns the key of David on you, you wield the key of David. I know that you have but little power, yet you have obeyed my message and have not disowned me. Here I will give you some from the synagogue of the adversary, those who call themselves Jews but aren't. On the contrary, they're lying. See, I will cause them to come and prostrate themselves at your feet, and they will know that I've loved you. Because you did obey my message about persevering. I will keep you from the time of trial upon the whole world to put the people living on the earth to the test. I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have so that no one will take away your crown. If you couldn't lose it, he wouldn't be telling you to hold on to it. I will make him who wins the victory a pillar in the temple of my God, and he will never leave it. Also, I'll write upon him the name of my God and the name of my God's city, 3 seals on the forehead. Yah's name, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from my God, and my own new name, YESHUA's new name. Those who have ears, let them hear what the Spirit is saying to the Messianic communities. And then it goes on to Laodicea, and for you, verse 17, 3:17, Yeshua's number. For you keep saying, I am rich, I've gotten rich, I don't need a thing. You don't know that you are the one who is wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. Blind and naked. Running through the streets naked. You think you're rich, but you're asleep. You don't know, you don't have the baby gold. My advice to you is to buy from me gold refined by fire. Got to go through the purification process so that you may be rich and white clothing, so that you may be dressed and not have to be ashamed of your nakedness. And eye salve to rub on your eyes so that you may see. As for me, I rebuke and discipline everyone I love, so exert yourselves and turn from your sins. That means repent, make teshuvah. Here I'm standing at the door, knocking. If someone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and eat with him, and he will eat with me. And I will let him who wins the victory sit with me on my throne. Great blessing for the repentant. Just as I myself also won the victory and sat down with my Father on his throne. Those who have ears to hear, let them hear what the Spirit is saying to the Messianic communities. Well, that's it, guys. We got to be on guard and watchful. That's the end of it. Hope this edified you. Bless you guys. I'll come back soon. Shalom.